Hey everyone, Tyson the Subaru Specialist from Subaru Prince George here, and today I have the pleasure of going through the all-new 2025 Subaru Forester Premier E-BOXER Hybrid. So this is the first hybrid that we've received. It just came off the truck this morning, peeled the plastic, and I got to take for a spin. It's an absolute pleasure to drive. Now, visually, side profile, there's a couple differences. You may notice, and I'll show you, there's the E-BOXER badge, and then if we had it side by side with another Premier, there are a couple differences with the wheels, mostly to do with making them a little stronger for the extra weight. But yeah, we get the 3 of these E-BOXER badges. And of course, this is the crystal black silica. They only come in the full load Premier trim here in Canada. There are gonna be some differences versus the US model. So depending if this is the first video you've watched or you've watched a bunch of others, there are gonna be a few differences. This is the new body style for the 25 Forester. It's powered by a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder BOXER engine, but you also get a 1.1 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery. So you get 194 horsepower out of this. And like I mentioned, it's a pleasure to drive, super smooth, it's a blast. Still the same size as the regular Forester, still that boxy SUV that we all know and love. The Premier gets those low profile roof rails up top, helps add to the sleekness. Fuel door is still on the rear passenger side. Now, one of the differences on the hybrid versus the non-hybrid is this actually has a release lever inside the car, and I'll show you that. New body style, most of our badging's on the sides. We've got half a hexagon here, and you'll notice a lot of hexagonal design language on this. Another E-BOXER badge, taillights go across, and we've got the other half of a hexagon there. And another symmetrical all-wheel drive badge. The one badge on the back, on the left, blacked out Subaru, and of course, the E-BOXER badge. Now, we do also have Forester debossed into the tailgate, something that you see on a lot of vehicles now, really elevates the look of it, in my opinion. Rear bumper, we've got backup sensors integrated into the rear bumper, and they'll actually apply the brakes if you're gonna hit something in reverse between speeds of 1 and 15 kilometers an hour. Hexagonal exhaust finisher area, and you've got the exact same thing with hexagonal texture there. Now, something they've added to the 25s, proximity kick gate. So you kick, you back up, it senses the key moving away, it pops open. We have a ton of room in the back here. Subaru did not compromise on storage space in the hybrid, which is nice. So you have the same amount of storage as a traditional Forester. So if you're moving from a regular Forester to the hybrid, it's gonna be the same. It's great. Now, this is just one of the pieces of shipping, some of the plugs that came with it, but we get that topographic map on our cargo tray, which is standard. And underneath here, this is gonna be one of those differences. So this is where the battery pack is. So we have a little bit of storage down there, but this is battery pack underneath there. We've got our eye bolt for recovery, and then underneath here, we have our can of goop for the fix-a-flat. Because you don't get a spare tire, you get the can of goop to help seal any punctures. Got this little storage area here, and in here we've got our compressor for pumping up a tire if you get a flat. We've got grocery bag hooks on either side. We've got a 12-volt power point for any charging needs. Grocery bag hooks. Privacy cover hides everything from the top of the seats down. Now, in the hybrid, because we don't have that storage underneath here, there isn't a place to lay that cargo tray across. So if you remove this, it's probably gonna spend time in your garage, may misplace it. Kind of the reason that they made it so you could tuck them under the other ones so you don't lose it. We've got the Harman Kardon audio system, phenomenal audio system in the back here. We've got nice hard mount physical tie downs in each corner of the Forester. And we still get the Easter eggs, like the telescope. We've got a lantern, we've got some birds, we've got mountains all around here. Yeah, there's a lot of room if we need to fold the seats down, simple as pulling on that. And of course, it depends how far back that front seat is reclined, but these do go virtually flat, and you can dramatically increase the amount of storage that you have in the Forester. Now, we do have an LED cargo light. You can shut it off, or it'll shut off on its own when you close the hatch. To close it, we can pull down, we can close it, we can lock and close it, we can do it from the key fob. We can also do the kick motion. You back up, it'll beep 3 times, and on the 3rd time it closes. So when your hands are full, you've pulled your hockey gear out or your cooler or whatever you have out, you can still close it without having to put it down, which is nice. Give you that rear 3/4 view. It's still that boxy crossover SUV body styling that we all know and love and expect from the Forester. Still have 8.7 inches of minimum ground clearance. Something I didn't mention is you still get a 63 liter fuel tank even with it being a hybrid. I guess it would help if it was actually unlocked. Track down that key. It is just the regular Subaru Forester key that you get, the proximity. And the second row, tons of room. Seats fold up very, very easy. And like I said, they didn't compromise on space just because you've got the battery pack. So the Premier does get the leather with the ultra suede bolstering and accents. And of course, you've got that little bit of bronze stitching, but very, very comfortable. Lots of headroom, lots of legroom. You can fit up to 3 passengers comfortably across in the back here. Fold down armrest with cup holders. And we have exceptionally easy access to the latch system, the lower anchors and tethers for children, which is fantastic if you have kids or grandkids, or you carry someone with a car seat. Seats can be reclined, simply pull and recline. Then this is a little bit different, this venting here, versus a traditional Forester. Outer 2 seats are heated, high and low. Person in the middle, in addition to having to sit in the middle, doesn't get a heated butt. 2 USB ports to keep everyone connected on those longer trips. And then we have vents out of the center console, in addition to the vents underneath the front seats facing rearward to heat up and cool down the second row very effectively. We have 3 matte back pockets on the backs of both front seats. And then we have a textured step here. And they want you standing on that if you get crossbars and you're loading something on there, because you're centered in the vehicle. And the other reason is, if I'm standing on the tire sits inside the fender, and you're not gonna get as much of your foot on that as you would that. And if I'm standing on there and I go right here, I'm right at the back here. I'm probably not loading things super far back here because this hatch would contact it when it's opened. So you'll probably end up leaning, potentially putting yourself in a precarious situation. And they don't want that, off balance. I get asked about this little black slot all the time, and that's what this extra side impact crash safety bar locks into, and that's designed to stop intrusion into the passenger cab in the event of a side collision, which I hope none of you ever need to experience. Soft touch armrest, semi-soft touch armrest, even where you put your thumb to grab the handle and close the door, soft touch. They've done a good job with that. Got a little bit of storage with a bottle holder, child lock if you need that, and then more Easter eggs with dog paws. Now, it is a proximity key, so to lock it, all we need to do, we touch these lines, and it locks. So long as the key's within 46 inches. If I forget something, I'm just gonna back up, get close, and I just put my hand in the handle, and it unlocks. Simple as. And the front door card looks very similar to that of the rear in terms of soft touch materials. Piano black with 2-position memory settings for the power driver seat. We've got auto front windows, regular power rear windows, window lock if you want to stop people from playing with them, and of course your power mirror adjustment. A little bit more storage with a bottle holder, and of course they never miss out on an opportunity to tell you about the Harman Kardon audio system. With the memory settings, as you'd expect, you get a power driver seat, including lumbar, and it's the same seating material up front as it is in the second row, that leather and ultra suede, but these seats are specifically designed to transmit less vibration and harshness through the seats into the driver and passenger, so you're gonna be less fatigued at the end of the day of driving, more alert, less likely to be involved in any collisions or accidents. But very, very comfortable seats, a little bit more bolstering than the previous gen. Sit in them, they do really hug you. Now, we have some buttons by the driver's left knee. We have an EV only mode, so when you have enough charge, you can just use the electronic portion of the battery. Great for low speed in-town driving. You can open the rear hatch. You can turn off that kick gate if you're not a fan of it for whatever reason. And we have a scroll wheel for the brightness of our gauges. There's our fuel door release lever. And then I will show you under the hood before we get inside. I'll go a little bit out of order. That's normal. New hybrid floor mats. And just like every other Subaru ever, facing the Subaru logo, hand in facing down, move from right to left. And there's a little lever right here that you move to unlatch it. And there it is. Looks a little bit different than your standard 2.5 liter 4-cylinder boxer engine compartment, at least different cover, but you still have your oil dipstick, your oil fill cap, your coolant reservoir, your washer fluid, and your brake fluid all highlighted in yellow, easily accessible. Oil filter still top mount, but there's definitely a little bit more stuff going on, wiring going on in the engine bay here. So I'm not a technician by any means, but of course, as I learn more about this, I'll make videos of it for you guys. I just like to drop it to close it. I don't like to put my hands on the hood and push down. Feels like I'm going to dent it, which I know I'm probably not, but I'd rather err on the side of caution. Now, on the inside here, when I first turn this on, it's gonna be it's weird when you first turn it on because it starts up in EV only mode or electric only mode. So I don't know if you normally can hear it turn on, but you don't get that same, there's no noise, which is really weird. And then after a little bit, the battery, there we go. So you get charge, you get eco, power, and this is a fully digital dash. This is what you see in the WRX TS, which is kind of cool. So you have your analog, speedometer on the right, which is still digital, and your digital in the middle. You can change the center screen. You can have nav, and if you have an iPhone with Apple CarPlay, you can get the Apple CarPlay in the middle. If you're on Android, like myself, unfortunately it only displays there. And then you can change it again to the EyeSight screen. And then of course it depends if you have adaptive cruise on, lane centering. But very, very cool. I like the digital dash. Definitely something to get used to. I like this left-hand side where I can see if I'm charging or not. And you can change that smaller information display. I'll just zoom in there. So fuel economy, washer fluids low. And you use the toggle on the left-hand side of the steering wheel to cycle through. You can see if you're using gas or how much charge you have in the battery. And we just went back to full electric. It's all very, very cool. Very handy stuff. I quite like this. I think it's a sharp looking display to say the least. Steering wheel itself, left-hand side, Bluetooth and audio control. So this is no different than a regular Premier, except phone calls, hang up or decline, issue voice commands, or access Google Assistant or Siri. Volume is left to right. This toggle changes our small little display on the left. If we press and hold this one, it changes our major display. So each time I press and hold. And there's only the 3 to choose from. Your main, your nav, and then the EyeSight one. Source switches from AM to FM to USB to Bluetooth, etc. Right-hand side, we've got adaptive cruise, lane centering. Both of those use these 3 black boxes, those color stereo EyeSight cameras, to look for cyclists, road lines, pedestrians, and other vehicles. These do automatic emergency braking, which saves you 10% on your basic insurance here in BC. When I turn on the adaptive cruise, and there's a little bit of glare, so I'm actually just gonna pause the video. I'm gonna angle this so I get less glare on the screen there. And we're back, a little bit less glare there. So you can see that we have adaptive cruise on, so not on, or not on and on. And you can see on the top left there are 4 bars, and you can see on the bottom left there, that's the follow distance behind the vehicle ahead of you. You'll follow at if you catch up while using cruise. And so when you set a cruise speed by pulling down on this toggle, those 3 lines will change to whatever speed you've set to. And then it'll show a vehicle if you've caught up to one. Lane centering, turn on. I get the steering wheel, off, on. These grayish lines will illuminate white above 60 kilometers an hour when the EyeSight cameras can see them, and you'll actually get gentle steering input to help keep you centered in your lane. Great driving assist, not a replacement for you having your hands on the wheel. It'll actually shut off if there's no driver input, but it's a great aid for long distance driving. We have intelligent and sport drive modes. And you can see S, a little bit more aggressive. So intelligence for everyday driving, sport's a little bit more spirited. You're gonna sit at in a higher RPM, you're gonna go faster, sooner. You're gonna use a little bit more fuel. So intelligence is what it defaults to. Heated steering wheel. Definitely don't need it today, but it is nice to have. We've got our 11.6-inch touchscreen infotainment system. And above this, we have this little screen, and sometimes you'll see a little red light there. That's the driver focus system. You can scan yourself in, do your memory settings for your seat off your face, but it'll also tell you if you're distracted or drowsy. So very, very handy. Nice assist. It doesn't like polarized glasses, and you can turn it off if you don't like it. You can see it's trying to scan me there. The top portion of this 11.6-inch screen, we've got what we're listening to. We've got navigation destinations. We've got widgets, which of course you can change around. And if you've watched any of my other videos, I always put the same ones on because they're what people seem to like. Weather, part of your satellite radio trial. And this is where you gain access to dual function X mode, which is like 4 low in a pickup. So snow, dirt, X mode, snow, dirt, deep snow and mud. And it also disables traction control down there. Home screen always takes you here. And the main portion of the screen, we've got map, radio, media, and phone, all pretty self-explanatory. Under apps, we've got wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. You gain access to the My Subaru app after the vehicle's registered in your name. Settings, car info, you can turn the display off. When you put it in reverse, backup camera pops up, and you've got regular backup camera, 360 camera, and it shows your sensors. Now, if you don't like this split screen, you press that button, and it'll just give you behind you. We've also got this view button down here. If I press that, gives you just 360. and you can cycle through. And the nice thing about the Forester is you can clean the backup camera from inside the vehicle just by twisting and holding this wiper stalk end towards yourself, which is the best thing ever for terrible weather. Now, if I'm in drive and I press the view button, it'll show me ahead of me, almost 180 degree front, 360, cycles through front passenger, front driver, a bunch of different camera views for you, because this does have the 360 camera being the premier. We can turn on auto vehicle hold, which is a brake holder for construction, drive-through, and rush hour traffic. And then if you go into the little vehicle, it gives you things you can change, steering responsive headlights, driving assistance things. You can do all of that, more settings. And of course, you may notice it's missing the start-stop button that's in every other Forester. That's because it's a hybrid and it'll just switch to EV mode instead of shutting off. Hook up phones, set driver profiles, and then we've got our climate controls. And it is dual zone, and you've got physical buttons on either side, and it goes up or down in 0.5 degree increments. Or if we click the screen, we can click, we can drag, we can sync. Easy to use, control where we want our airflow, if we want AC on, max AC. And if I don't touch this for a little bit, it's just going to disappear on its own, which is nice. So I don't have to worry about pressing that X after I've made a climate adjustment. It'll just go back to whatever screen I had previously. I think it's about 5 seconds. And then we've got big fan strength buttons that are hard to miss, and 3 stages of heated and 3 stages of ventilated seats for both the driver and passenger, which is nice. Ventilated seats make all the difference in the summer. Below the screen, we've got 2 USBs, an auxiliary, and a wireless charger. And this is soft touch as well, so if you're resting your leg against it on a longer trip, it's going to hurt less than if it was hard touch. We've got automatic CVT with manual mode, and these paddles, it's kind of like in an EV. The paddles help change the level of regenerative braking, so you'll charge the battery for the hybrid more, which is nice. It will slow you down a little bit, but it's all about the regenerative braking on this. We've got our electronic park brake. We've got our view button for the 360 camera, our nice offset cup holders, 12-volt power point for any charging needs. A little bit of storage in there, and that is rubberized on the bottom. It is a little awkward to grab, so it's going to depend entirely upon what you have in there. And we've got a nice soft touch armrest with quite a bit of storage in it. There's a place to run cords out of, which is nice, so you don't crush them if you have something in there. Camera cord or battery bank, something like that. Up top, auto dimming rear view mirror. Pull the switch. You can't, because there isn't one. Just automatically dims if someone's got their brights on behind you. Your side mirrors are also auto dimming, which is nice. And this does have the home link system. You can hook up to 3 separate garage doors to your mirror, so you don't have to carry a bulky visor opener with you. And we have our compass, integrated compass. Got our sunroof controls, our LED map lights, and then we get SOS and roadside assistance. That's part of the My Subaru Connected Services trial that you get with most new Subarus. Sunglass storage, and then we get the panoramic sunroof. It's quite large. It is sliding only, but you can stop it at any point. And there is, of course, a little bug screen, stops bugs from getting sucked in here. Very nice. Got card holders on both sun visors. Got a vanity light with mirror, and we have the ability to extend it to the side there, which is nice if the sun's directly at your left or right. That is a quick look at the 2025 Subaru Forester Premier e-Boxer Hybrid in the crystal black silica. First one we've received. Got those LED headlights on, those LED daytime running lights, the LED fog lights. Something I didn't mention, you still get a 63-liter tank with the Forester, which means you're going to be able to go quite a bit further than something with a smaller tank. I shouldn't say shorter. So you're rated at 6.8 liters in the city, 7 liters on the highway, so very, very good economy out of this. And actually, something I forgot to mention, despite being a hybrid, we still have a mechanical connection to the rear differential. Lots of other hybrids do not have a mechanical connection. They're actually just separate electric motors. So we still get Subaru's full-time legendary symmetrical all-wheel drive. Something I also didn't mention, a lot of information coming at you at once. It's a series parallel hybrid system. So do a little bit of research on that and see what your thoughts are. So thank you for sticking with me and watching my quick walkthrough of the 25 Subaru Forester e-Boxer Hybrid Premier. I'm Tyson, the Subaru specialist from Subaru of Prince George. If you guys have any questions about this, which I'm sure some of you will have, put it in the comments below. Love hearing from you guys. I'll answer any questions I can. If you're in the market for a Subaru, willing to make the trip to northern BC, even if you're out of province, reach out to me. Love to help you find your perfect car. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll talk soon.